Has the rise in interest rates changed the amount of people who are getting mortgages to buy property? We'll take a look at the data coming up next. Hey, what's going on, friends? I was asked the other day if the rise in interest rates has changed the amount of people who are buying with mortgages in the market here on the Big Island. And the assumption was that there's a lot more cash buyers in the market now than there was because less people must be getting mortgages, right? There must be less people getting mortgages with the interest rates being higher than they were a year ago. So I just thought it was a great opportunity to actually dig into the data and see what the data says instead of giving my opinion, because opinions don't matter, right? The data is what matters. And so what I did was I went back and looked at the first 4 months of 2022, which was the last hurrah, right? I mean, that was the peak of the rising market before rates started going up in the middle of the year and things started slowing down. So really January to April of last year was the absolute height of the party, right? In terms of sales and the low interest rates. And then I looked at the first 4 months of 2023 to see, was there a change? Was there any difference in the proportion of people getting loans versus the proportion of people that are buying in cash? And these are just residential and condominium sales, because we excluded land mainly because there's so many small land sales here on the Big Island in Ocean View and in Puna that it's going to skew the amount of cash sales very widely towards the cash side of it, because there's a lot more cash sales than there are finance sales. So just kind of in the standard housing market, condos, residential, we looked at how many were cash versus how many were loans. And so looking at January to April of 2022, there was 577 cash sales during that time period last year. There was 1,333 financed sales during that period in 2022. That's 44%. So less than half were cash, and this was in the very low interest rate market, the height of the party, right? When everybody was buying everything, there was 44% that were cash versus financed. So 56% were financed. And then I looked at January to April of 2023. This is pretty much the height of the high interest rate market, right? And some of the slowest months that we've had in the market in a very, very long time. That January and February were some of the lowest number of sales that we've had in like a decade here on the Big Island. So these numbers are going to be lower, right? So cash was down to 360 cash sales during this time period, which is proportional to the reduction in the overall market in terms of number of sales. And then we looked at the financed closings during that same time period is 801. So what was the difference between 22 and 23? 1 percentage point. So there was 1 percentage point more cash sales than there were finance sales. And it's not even a full percentage point. I rounded up. It was like 44.8. And so it's pretty much the same. I mean, this is statistically, it's not significant in terms of the number of cash sales versus finance sales and any significant increase. So the short story is that financed buyers have not gone away, right? People who still need to buy a home are still in the market. They have gotten over that initial shock at the last 6 months of last year of the higher interest rate levels, and people are back in the market. They're still buying. We had a condo recently that had 8 offers on it. All of them were financed. All of them were over list price because people who see a well-priced property are making offers. And so if you're holding out, this is not the time to do it, right? People are in the market. They're still buying. Interest rates may go down in the future. I don't have a crystal ball. There are many experts that say that interest rates are here to stay. We are never going to go back down to 3% interest rates or maybe even 4% interest rates in our lifetime. So if you're not going to buy due to a 5 or 6% interest rate, you may never be able to buy in the future. And if you calculate out what that's going to cost you over the next 10 years in terms of the appreciation of property is going to continue to appreciate regardless of what the interest rate is. You could potentially pay significantly more in the future and still have a high interest rate. So if you're thinking about buying, do not let financing hold you back. Do not let interest rates hold you back, because clearly in the market today, there's a huge segment out there. Almost over half of all buyers are still buying with financing, and the interest rates haven't held them back. So if you have any questions, you want to have a further discussion, put them in the comments below, or you can email me at dylan@buybigisland.com, and I'll see you guys next week. Aloha.